I'm going to be putting Jason Garrett back into the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys. But this is a team he'll be coaching. What are we doing, Dak? For every win, we're allowed to bring in one past Cowboys legend to help Jason Garrett win the Super Bowl. Our season opener is against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but luckily for Jason Garrett, Baker Mayfield is the starting quarterback. The defense led by Micah Parsons gave Baker Mayfield very little time to make any plays. Jason Garrett's offense really struggled to get anything going, especially without a #1 tight end on the roster. But that didn't stop Dak Prescott. He finds Jake Ferguson in the end zone to get them on the board. A huge interception by Devin White leads to a 10-yard touchdown pass to Cade Otton. Fast forward to the second half, Dak Prescott gets sacked for the 3rd time in this game. And then he gets sacked once again a couple plays later, so they had to settle for 3. The offense has really struggled in both the passing and rushing game. But with just 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, down by 6, Dak Prescott is able to work his team down the field, and on 1st and goal, Dak keeps it for himself and gives the Cowboys a lead with less than 2 minutes to go. The defense gets a huge stop on 4th down to close out this game and win their first game of the season. And with that, Jason Garrett will have the pleasure of reuniting with one of the greatest Cowboy tight ends in franchise history, Jason Witten. And that is going to be a massive upgrade over Jake Ferguson. In order to add some pressure to this video, for every loss, I will be forced to discard a Cowboys player from my MUT team. And as some of you know, I hate losing MUT coins. With Jason Witten added to the offense, we jumped right into the second game of the season against a very good Cincinnati team led by Joe Burrow. Both teams going back and forth, but the Bengals had a 10-3 lead heading into halftime. In the 4th quarter, the Cowboys defense gets a big sack on 3rd and 26. Let's go! And now it's Dak's turn to lead a comeback. On 4th and 1 in the red zone, Dak hands off to Tony Pollard, who scores from the 13 yards out to go up 13-10. Unfortunately, that was not good enough to put the game away. In overtime, Micah Parsons comes up huge, sacking Joe Burrow on 3rd down, forcing the Bengals to punt the ball back to the Cowboys. Dak finds Cowboys legend Jason Witten over the middle for a huge game to put the team into field goal range. And a few plays later, the Cowboys get into the end zone to win their 2nd game of the season, and Jason Garrett remains undefeated. With that huge win, we're adding strong safety Darren Woodson to the team. He played his entire 12-year career in Dallas, where he won 3 Super Bowls, 4 first-team All-Pro selections, and he is part of the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Honor. And now take on a New York Giants team that recently paid Daniel Jones a 4-year contract worth $160 million. What were they thinking? But unfortunately, the Cowboys team did not play their best football, and they ended up losing 27-20, which means we do not get to add a past Cowboys legend to the team, and worse, I have to discard this 98 overall Team of the Year Micah Parsons. With no additional Cowboys past legends added to the team, the Cowboys take on the Washington Commanders, who have Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback. On the opening drive, Dak Prescott throws yet another interception, which leads to an early field goal for the Commanders. On the Cowboys' very next drive, Dak finds Jason Witten, and then Tony Pollard punches it in to take the early lead. After that touchdown, the Commanders took control by scoring twice, thanks to another Dak Prescott interception. The Cowboys started the comeback, but unfortunately, Dak throws his 3rd interception of the game, and somehow the Cowboys were able to pull off an epic comeback late in the 4th quarter and went on to win in overtime. The Cowboys are 3-1 under Jason Garrett, but Dak Prescott has thrown way too many interceptions on the year so far, so we are going to be bringing in Hall of Fame quarterback Troy Aikman. He's arguably the Cowboys' best quarterback in franchise history, and he won 3 Super Bowls in his 12 seasons in Dallas. Aikman is set to make his debut against the Rams, who lost key pieces in the offseason. However, we shouldn't underestimate them, as they still have star players like Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp on their roster, who can turn the game around at any moment. The defense had a great first drive, stopping Stafford and the Rams offense. Remember when I said Aaron Donald could change the game in a heartbeat? Well, he was able to come up with a huge sack on Troy Aikman, which completely changed the momentum of the game. The Rams went on to play spoiler in Aikman's debut, and the Cowboys ended up losing their 2nd game of the season in Los Angeles, and that means another Cowboy off my MUT team is going to be discarded. This time it's 98 overall free agency Tony Pollard, who is worth 450,000 coins. I decided to sim through the next 2 games, where we ended up losing to the 1-4 Eagles in week 6, and you know what that means, and this time it's Zach Martin, who's worth over 500,000 coins. We have lost over 1.3 million coins so far, thanks to the 3 losses the Cowboys have taken. But after simming our week 7 matchup against the Lions, the Cowboys absolutely flooded them 38-13, where Aikman threw for 344 yards and 3 touchdowns. Micah Parsons did it all on defense with 3 sacks, so let's give him some help, bringing in Hall of Fame defensive tackle Randy White. He played 209 games in a Cowboys uniform, racking up 52 sacks, and he was an All-Pro 9 times. So far, we've added 4 past Cowboys legends onto this team, and now we take on Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. On the opening drive of the game, Justin Fields throws an interception to Darren Woodson. Come on, Darren, let's go! The Cowboys had a pretty solid first quarter with Pollard getting them on the board first with a 7-yard touchdown run. Troy Aikman finds CeeDee Lamb for an 11-yard touchdown a few minutes later, giving them a solid lead heading into halftime. But in a blink of an eye, the Bears start the comeback and Fields throws an absolute missile to DJ Moore for 26 yards. They ended up taking the lead thanks to a field goal. The money drive for Jason Garrett and the Cowboys was looking promising, but Troy Aikman throws an interception right into the hands of the Bears linebacker, and the Cowboys lose their 4th game of the season. The next mud item that we are going to be discarding is this Anthony Barr card that's worth over 500,000 coins, putting our total to over 1.8 million coins lost. After that devastating loss to the Chicago Bears, Troy Aikman rebounded with a big game. He was in peak form, throwing for over 300 yards on the day, including 2 touchdowns. This one right here might be the best touchdown pass to Michael Gallup we have seen him throw so far. The defense played really well, forcing a fumble on the Packers quarterback, and the Cowboys dominated the rest of the game, defeating the Packers in a crucial game to win their 5th game of the season. And with that win, we are going to be bringing some help to Troy Aikman. 6'3", 325-pound Hall of Famer Larry Allen. We decided to send the next 3 games where the Cowboys ended up defeating the Vikings in Week 11 and followed that up with a big win in a divisional game against the Giants in Week 12, but they ended up losing to the Colts in the very next game. And for that loss, we are going to be discarding the CeeDee Lamb mud item that's worth over 1 million coins. We have now lost over 3 million coins. Why did I even agree to this? But with the win over the Vikings and the Giants, we are going to be bringing in primetime Deion Sanders and the greatest wide receiver in Cowboys franchise history, Michael Irvin. This team is absolutely stacked with incredible past and present Cowboys talent, and there is no excuse not to win a Super Bowl this year. The next game is against a weak Texans team, but that didn't stop Davis Mills from slinging the rock, hitting Chris Godwin for a huge 52-yard completion. At halftime, the game is all tied up, but Troy Aikman finds newly acquired Brandon Cooks in the end zone for a touchdown, and somehow Davis Mills connects on another deep ball down the field, this time to Robert Woods. How does he keep making these plays? In the 4th quarter, the Cowboys started to pull away, with Aikman finding CeeDee Lamb in the end zone, going up 2 scores. They kept their foot on the gas, scoring again, and then Trayvon Diggs seals the game with an interception. The Cowboys end up winning the Battle of Texas, and by doing that, we are going to be bringing in Charles Haley. Although he only played 4 seasons in Dallas, he won 3 Super Bowls, and he's going to be fitting alongside Michael Parsons at left outside linebacker. I decided to send the next 3 games, and it did not go very well. Losing to Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 15, and then a huge loss in the divisional game against the Eagles in Week 16, which means I have to discard a Darren Woodson Ring of Honor card and a 99 overall Deion Sanders card, putting our coin loss total to 4.7 million. But the Cowboys got right back on track, defeating the Titans in Week 17, where Aikman threw for over 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. We're going to be adding Hall of Fame running back and my favorite player of all time, Emmitt Smith. This Week 18 matchup against the Commanders is crucial. If we lose this game, we will not be making the playoffs. But with the new additions to the team, the Cowboys came out swinging, easily marching down the field and capping the drive off with a touchdown run by Emmitt Smith. Let's go, Emmitt, come on! But you can never count out the Commanders as Jacoby Brissett throws a laser to Jahan Dotson for a 73-yard touchdown to tie the game. Emmitt Smith was able to score a second time to put the Cowboys up 2 scores, and they did not stop there, leading 31-14 at halftime. The Commanders cut the lead to 10 late in the 4th quarter, but it was not enough to complete the comeback, and the Cowboys go on to win the game to secure a spot in the playoffs. And to celebrate our playoff berth, we can add another Cowboys legend to the team, and I'm going with Ed Too Tall Jones. He is 6'9", and he won a Super Bowl back in 1978. The wild card matchup is all set with the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Detroit Lions, and it is not looking good to start the game, where Troy Aikman throws a pick 6 to CJ Gardner-Johnson on the opening drive. Troy Aikman finds Michael Gallup for a 52-yard touchdown pass in the 3rd quarter, but Jared Goff leads the Lions into the red zone. On 3rd and 7, the Cowboys defense comes up huge with a big-time sack to force a field goal. With 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter, Emmitt Smith shows why he's a Hall of Famer, moving the Cowboys all the way down the field and taking a lot of clock with him. He caps it off with a touchdown run to put the game out of reach, moving them on to the divisional round. And with that win, we are going to be bringing in Travis Frederick. Another matchup against against the Washington Commanders, but this time the Cowboys start off hot, scoring on their opening drive thanks to a 1-yard touchdown run by Emmitt Smith. The Commanders work their way down the field, but they get stopped by the Cowboys defense on the 2-yard line. Fast forward a little bit, and the Cowboys put up another 3 touchdowns in the first half, putting them up 28-6. The dominance continued in the second half, where the Cowboys scored a total of 56 points and easily defeated the Commanders in the divisional round. With that big win in the divisional round, we are adding Bob Lilly to the defense. Now that we added him to the defensive line, the team takes on the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game. On the opening drive, Deion Sanders reads the quarterback's eyes and picks him off. Finally, the Cowboys get into the red zone, and Aikman finds Emmitt Smith underneath to get him in scoring position. Emmitt Smith caps the drive off with a 7-yard touchdown run to give the Cowboys their first lead of the game. This has been a defensive battle. The score going into halftime is 6-3. Brock Purdy, however, was able to find George Kittle in the end zone for 7 to take the lead. Troy Aikman answered back immediately, finding Michael Gallup, who walks into the end zone for 7. The game is all tied up at 20 with 2 minutes to go. He hands the ball off to Emmitt Smith, who punches it in for 7. Unfortunately, Brock Purdy and the Niners were not able to tie the game up, and the Cowboys are moving on to the Super Bowl for the first time since 1996. And with that win, we are going to bring in one last Cowboys legend, and it's going to be Dez Bryant. The Super Bowl matchup is all set with Troy Aikman and the Dallas Cowboys of the past and present going up against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And on the opening drive, Mahomes throws an interception to Trayvon Diggs. And on their first play, Aikman hands off to Emmitt Smith, who finds a hole and makes a couple defenders miss and ended up scoring a touchdown. And look at him throwing up the Dez Bryant X to celebrate. Mahomes says not so fast as he finds his receiver for a huge 51-yard gain. And Isaiah Pacheco finds the end zone a few plays later to tie the game up. After taking the lead on their next possession, Ed Too Tall Jones recovers a fumble, and Troy Aikman finds Dez Bryant for a 45-yard touchdown pass to put the Cowboys up 20-7. The defense gets another huge stop on 3rd down thanks to Ed Too Tall Jones, and Aikman finds Dez Bryant for a 78-yard touchdown. The game quickly got out of hand, and the Cowboys led 55-7 with 5 minutes to go. Mahomes tries to get something going, but on 3rd and 17, he fails to pick up the first down. Jason Garrett and the rest of the past and present Cowboys players win their first Super Bowl since 1996. And if you enjoyed a video just like this one, you should definitely check out where I added one past NFL draft pick to the Houston Texans until they won their first ever Super Bowl.